first day. Up next is the man who needs no introduction. Up next is the reason we probably all have jobs. It's the reason we're all here. Please, I want to hear the loudest round of applause for the creator of Laravel, Taylor Otwell.
Everyone here, after 4 years of not having an in-person Laracon, it's really good to be back. And thank you for your support of this event. It's really an overwhelming response. Yeah, so thank you for that. How many people are here from your very first Laracon? Wow. So that's actually really encouraging for me because that means there's a lot of fresh faces coming into the Laravel world. I don't want it to feel like stale and like it's kind of the same old crew every year. We're not really growing. So thank you for coming out. That's really cool. Thanks again to the sponsors and everyone, the event staff that made this event possible. They've done a really good job. And I've been building Laravel for 12 years now at this point, and I believe this is my 18th official Laracon presentation, counting the European, the Australian, and now Laracon India conferences. And honestly, I've been loving every second of it because I still believe that Laravel is the most productive way to build full stack web. I'm working on Laravel, like I said earlier during my intro, and I look forward to working on it for a long time to come. And 2023 has been a busy year so far for us. And before I get into sort of the demo of my talk, I wanted to kind of give you a quick recap of some of the things we've done this year. The first thing is we launched Laravel 10 back in February, I think. Laravel 10, one of the big features was throughout our entire skeleton, we included method signature types and return types for every file in the skeleton, basically bringing Laravel up to date with all of the type pinning features that have been released to PHP since we initially wrote the framework back in late 2010. So we may continue to explore that in the future. The only thing remaining is adding property type hints to, like, for example, your Eloquent file by default. The only reason we didn't do that in Laravel 10 is that is unfortunately a breaking change. Every application actually had to go in and add those property types, which was a little bit more than we wanted to bite off and chew at that point, but we may explore that in the future. It also brought the release of Laravel Pennant, our feature flag library written by Tim McDonald, who is here at the conference, and we'll be speaking tomorrow. Laravel Pennant is sort of a painless way to manage feature flags in your application. You can store them in the database. You can use the cool lottery class that Laravel offers you to decide which users have access to specific portions of your application. So you can offer like a new API to some VIP customer to try it out without exposing it to the rest of your application's users, which is a really cool way to develop applications actually in beta test. We also launched our process interaction features, which Nuno Maduro and I sort of paired up on some, making it really easy to control external processes from Laravel, even controlling concurrent pools of processes that are processing a lot of data at one time and then handling their output in this really convenient, nice way that has a really good developer experience. We shipped Laravel Precognition, another one of Tim McDonald's brainchilds. And it's a really cool package. If you haven't used it yet, I would definitely check it out. And I feel like it especially shines if you're using Laravel Inertia, because it lets you reuse all of your backend validation logic that you maybe have in like a form request. And it lets you reuse validation, but it doesn't actually invoke the controller that is about to be invoked, and instead it just returns all that validation data to you on the front end. But I'll let Tim dive into that tomorrow because that's literally what his talk is focused on. We also shipped optional PEST scaffolding in the Laravel skeleton. PEST, of course, as many of you know, is Nuno Maduro's testing framework that has a really good developer experience, really expressive syntax. We made that an optional built-in feature of Laravel that you can add on when you create your Laravel application. On our commercial projects, we've continued to bring a number of UI improvements to Laravel Forge, which continues to be our most popular product. Thank you for your support of that product, which lets us sustain this whole open source Laravel development endeavor. We've shipped a ton of features to Laravel Vapor. I was just talking with with Joe about this backstage, but we have honestly shipped just crazy amount of stuff, including failed job management directly from the Vapor UI, improved log search directly from the Vapor UI, ARM support, which brings increased performance while at the same time reducing costs, which is a total win-win. And of course, dark mode, the most important thing of all. And just last week, actually, Joe and I shipped out this new visual refresh of Envoyer, which is our zero downtime deployment tool in Laravel. And Joe did a really good job on this redesign and sort of facelift of this product, which I'm really happy with, and we'd love to continue to make improvements to this product as well. Behind the scenes, we've also launched infrastructure upgrades to both Forge and Envoyer. We're running on much beefier servers now, much faster servers, so we can handle even more deployment capacity and provisioning capacity for your servers. We've continued to ship weekly features to Laravel Nova. Go check out the changelog for Laravel Nova if you don't keep up with it. Like almost a weekly basis, it's like over a dozen things that get shipped to Laravel Nova, and it's easy to lose track of what's all going into it. So go read that over if you haven't in a while, because there's some really cool stuff that's gone into Nova lately, including our new repeater field, which just launched within the last month or so, that lets you add sort of multiple line items to things, all from the Nova interface. And David Hemphill is my partner on Laravel Nova, and he's here as well. So reach out to him if you have any Nova questions. We've also been doing a little marketing, which is something we actually don't spend a lot of time focused on because we're always coding and building things. But we launched a brand new page pitching Laravel kind of to people who are more accustomed to front-end development. Maybe they've spent a lot of time in React or a lot of time in Vue or Svelte or Next, and they want, or maybe they feel like they need something more full stack. And the purpose of this page, which is at laravel.com/frontend, is to pitch Laravel and why I think it's the perfect choice for a full stack web framework to pair with something like React or Vue. And the reason for that is that Laravel is a very batteries included framework, which is in contrast to some other ecosystems, right? Especially the JavaScript ecosystem. So JavaScript ecosystem, really great at front end stuff, but when you start to do full stack backend stuff, you sort of have to piece together tons of different packages to make everything work, like your ORM, sending emails, queuing jobs. It feels very disconnected. And so we're trying to show that Laravel is a viable choice, in 2023, because it's so batteries included, it's so robust, it has such a rich ecosystem of packages developed by the community. So we're trying to advertise that a little bit. And we also highlight the two primary ways of building modern, highly interactive front ends with Laravel: Inertia and Livewire. And we demo this right on this page. And I consider these two packages to sort of be the backbone of modern Laravel's front-end development story. I want Laravel to be an amazing choice for front-end development no matter what your preferred technology is. So some frameworks, they go really hard on, we hate JavaScript, we don't want to write a line of JavaScript. And other frameworks that go really heavy into the other way, like if you're not writing React, you can't work with this framework. So we try to play a balancing act where if you like React and Vue, Inertia is a perfect fit for you because it pairs your Laravel backend with your React or Vue frontend in this really awesome lean way that lets you lean on all your Laravel knowledge and server-side routing and eloquent ORM while writing your frontend in React or Vue or whatever else. Inertia was a product or a package originally developed by Jonathan Rennick, and earlier this year I reached out to Jonathan, who now is a partner at Tailwind Labs, working on Tailwind CSS, and I offered to Jonathan to let us adopt Inertia sort of into the Laravel ecosystem and help you maintain it. I'll revise all the documentation for you. And so a few months earlier this year, I wrote all the documentation, revised it, brought it up to speed with everything that had been released, and we sort of officially adopted Inertia as a first-party package, you might say, in the Laravel ecosystem, which I'm really happy about, so we can ensure that it's continued to be maintained and developed for the community. And we released Inertia 1.0 earlier this year. And Laravel Breeze, our simplest starter kit, lets you scaffold applications with Inertia or Livewire. And we just launched TypeScript support earlier this year in our Breeze starter kit. So if you're using React or Vue, you can pass --TypeScript and we create a new Breeze application, and you'll get a nice modern TypeScript React front end to pair with your batteries included full stack Laravel backend. So if that's your thing, check that out. Another great way to write front ends with Laravel is using Laravel Livewire, developed by Caleb Porzio, who's going to be sharing some awesome new stuff with us tomorrow. I'm sure many of you have enjoyed this package. Who's using Livewire here? Okay, a good number of you. Livewire lets you build amazing modern applications using PHP and Blade, but the applications feel really dynamic and snappy and interactive, like they had tons of JavaScript behind them, when really you're just writing PHP and Blade the whole time. And you don't have to deal with any like complicated build steps or front-end scaffolding and tools like that or whatever. So it's really fast development cycle, really nice, really slick. And I believe like Inertia, Livewire should be considered a first-class citizen of the Laravel ecosystem. It's Blade templating, but it's supercharged with all this cool interactivity. And when Caleb launches the Livewire 3 site tomorrow, I'm really happy. We're going to be launching it at livewire.laravel.com. And we want to continue offering our support to Caleb and his work on Livewire however we can. And so we're sort of considering this a first-class package of the Laravel ecosystem going forward, because I think it's that foundational to how we build Laravel applications. And for the Laravel framework in general, every week, we continue to make improvements to the framework. And go out and look at the release notes on GitHub every week, and you can kind of stay up to speed with what we're putting out there. Even like last week, as you heard earlier, we released sub-minute granularity for scheduled tasks, which is a really cool new feature that Jess worked on. And we ship, honestly, cool new features almost every week. So go check out those release notes to stay up to speed. So that is our sort of recap of 2023. And I'm going to transition to more of kind of demo mode now. So I'm going to close out this presentation. And first I want to talk about how people get started with Laravel. We've tried to make getting started with Laravel as easy as possible through our documentation, through our starter kits, through all of the Laracast material we've put out, but none of that is any good if you don't have PHP installed, you don't have a web server installed. And we built things like Laravel Sail and Laravel Lay that make that easier, but we think it could be even easier yet. So I took a pretty risky move when I started this demo, in that I don't actually even have PHP installed on this laptop. And this is my main work laptop. So probably the riskiest live demo move I've ever done. But we've partnered with Beyond Code to get back to basics. So Beyond Code, Marcel and Dee and the rest of the team, they built an application for us, sort of at my request. And it makes it so easy to get started with Laravel and PHP, because I want to be able to share Laravel with such a wide audience, and I don't want there to be any barriers to entry to getting started with this framework. So we're calling it Laravel Herd, and I'm going to show you how it works. So again, I'm going to open up my terminal. We can see that I literally don't have PHP installed, but I have downloaded Laravel Herd. So I'm going to pop open the installer. I'm going to drag it to my applications folder. Then I'm going to open it up. All right, when I open it up, I'm going to get an installation wizard. It's going to ask me some questions. It's going to notice that I previously was using Valet, and it's going to offer to migrate all my Valet settings to Laravel Herd. I'm going to continue through that. And then I'm going to say automatically launch a system startup. And that's it. So let's pop open my terminal again. You can see I've got Herd PHP installed. I've got the Laravel installer. And I've got Composer. Just that simple. Everything you need is bundled into Herd. So it's powered by the same project auto detection that's in Laravel Valet. So if you have a Laravel project and it's in a certain directory that you specify, which we'll see in a second, it just works. If you have a Symfony project, it just works. If you have a Magento project, it just works. So it's really, really slick. All right, let's go ahead and open up some of the settings in Herd. So Herd is a menu bar application, and it lives in Nginx and DNS mask and FPM settings. But I'm going to go ahead and actually open up the full settings window. So if I go to Laravel test, It just works because it's in my code directory. And if you've used Valet, this is no surprise to you. You're used to this sort of behavior. In my sites tab, I can see what version of PHP each site is using. I can change that version. I can use SSL. And one of my favorite features is on the PHP tab, I can install additional versions of PHP. And what's really sweet, and if a new version comes out of PHP, even a patch version of the one you're using, let's say 8.2.8 comes out, my menu bar of Herd will have a little red dot, and I can just update to that patch version right there. Again, no homebrew, no package managers, nothing. It just all works right here in Herd. There's an Expose tab where I can share my, yeah, thanks. There's an Expose tab where I can share my site with the world. Very similar, like if you want to show a site to a client that's on your local machine, you can share it using Expose and give them a public URL to see that site, which is on your local machine. So it's a pretty simple app. I will be eternally grateful to Marcel and the Beyond Code team for developing this app. I've wanted this app literally for many years. And so thank you to them for building this. We are launching this today. Laravel.com. You can download this. This is, honestly, I consider this a gift to the Laravel community, to the PHP community at large, honestly, to make onboarding onto PHP as easy as possible, and it's totally free, and you can download it today. So that is Laravel Herd, and thanks again to Beyond Code for building that awesome app. Now, let's jump into some code. So I'm going to pop into a project. And I wanted to show you a little preview of what we've been tinkering around with for Laravel 11. So Laravel 11 will land later this year, and I've been focused on streamlining the default Laravel application structure over the last few weeks, making it more light, more lean, more modern. And what's cool about this is there's actually not a single breaking change. So you're going to see a lot of things in this demo that look like they should be a breaking change, but it's really not, because the framework is so flexible in terms of how the skeleton is structured that you can upgrade your Laravel 10 app to Laravel 11, change nothing about how your application is structured, and everything will work totally fine. What I wanted to show you today is just some ideas we've been playing with for what new Laravel 11 applications will look like. And this is just a preview. Don't get married to any of these particular ideas. This is very beta. Some of it may change. There may be some stuff that's reverted, some stuff that's added. This is just kind of me sharing